Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Tap the banner or visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
You guys, welcome to another episode of What's Your Issue? My name is Troy McGeady.
And I'm Darlene. Hello.
And we are continuing our obsession. I mean, I guess we're not unique. It's the world's obsession right now with JFK Jr. and Carolyn.
Yeah, I feel like our intention here today was to do a bonus episode more about George Magazine, but I do feel that this might just turn into a full-on part 2 of our main episode.
Listen, I have hope that we'll stay on course. I do have a lot of thoughts about George, as I'm sure you do too.
Of course. May I first start with, though, you watched episode 6, right?
I actually didn't, because I thought I was further along than I was.
Oh my God, what episode are you on?
I'm on like 4.
Okay. So
I was like right smack dab in the middle. So Badar told me that episode 6 is like the best episode of the entire series.
It is so good. It came out last night, and Troy, I was texting you. Episode 6 for an Oscar. It's unbelievable. It is. In the last episode, it felt like we were getting away from their love story, like things were getting difficult, and then we just have some moments where we're so back, baby.
Oh my God, I can't. Well, it's so funny because ironically, I feel like it's the universe told us to record this today, because earlier today, Daryl Hannah released a statement. Well, not a statement really, like a whole think piece through the New York Times about her view on this show and her depiction and just how repulsed she is by the whole thing.
Yeah, that she was not, like, she never showed up at his mom's wake unannounced, and she's never done coke. She never had a coke party at his loft, which I guess I would be pretty pissed if I were her. Like, yes, we know that it, like, obviously this stuff is fictional, but yeah, she comes off as pretty bad. Or at least just like a little pathetic in it.
Pathetic, in her own words, pathetic, annoying, rude, flighty. Like, they really don't do her any favors. But I was thinking about it, and it's like, the show wants you to believe in the love story. Like, we're supposed to want her to go away, you know, so that he can be with Carolyn. Like, it's still a television show, and I would be pissed off if I was her, because that depiction was very flat. It was like, she's the annoying, just like manic pixie dream girl, ditzy idiot girlfriend that needs to just go. But like, the show is telling, there's a narrative. They don't want us to want him to be with Daryl Hannah.
Exactly. And it's not about his fuck list or anything, we're not going to get into like some well-rounded depiction of what their relationship was. We never get to see what he ever saw in her or what their relationship had. They were together for 5 years. So
yeah,
obviously at one point he liked her, but we never see that on the show. It just seems like he's annoyed with her. But did you know that he really did kill her dog?
Yeah.
What a fucking idiot.
I know. And like, we talked about this in the main feed episode, but it's like, the show has this way of making all of his like all his dopey dumb moments, they make it like charming still, or like everything is out of his control. Like every bad thing that happens to him is because he just has bad luck and he's always painted into a corner. And God, if that guy had only just left him alone, the dog, they make it seem like he has no control over like the bad things that he does.
Yeah. I will say that scene, I was like, whoa, this is just Sex in the City, but instead of Carrie losing Aiden's dog.
Yeah. I was waiting to hear Pete.
Pete.
Oh, Pete.
Oh, Pete. Pete's a dog. It's okay. There was, I have to pull this up. There was someone who commented on Spotify on our episode and, or wait, no, it was on our Patreon, which shout out our Patreon. It was kind of funny. Here it is. MC commented, I was talking to one of my colleagues who was in her 50s and worked at a helipad back when JFK Jr. was running around New York City. She told me that on July 4th, 1999, her office told her that someone had left a kayak on the helipad and a helicopter couldn't land because of it. Eventually, the owner of the kayak called, explained that he had her kayaking, ew, that water, to see the fireworks when NYPD told him to get out because he had no lights. She asked why he would leave it in the dead center of a landing pad, and he said, so you could see it. When he came to get it, she was shocked to find it was JFK Jr. He strapped the kayak to a taxi and then took off on his bike, obviously to somewhere else. I wonder how the taxi driver got the kayak to wherever it needed to be, LOL.
Wait, he was kayaking in the Hudson?
Yeah. On the 4th of July.
What?
And NYPD kicked him out because he had no lights on. He's just in a fucking kayak.
In God's, what respectable human being swims? I wouldn't let that water touch my fingertips.
Now, and that makes me think. So she said it was very soon before he died. I feel like perhaps Daddy had a bit of a mani-epi going on.
Okay.
Just like, he's doing the however he got injured, doing the paragliding, and then he's kayaking in the Hudson and then just leaving the kayak. Like, it feels a little... it seemed like things weren't going well at that time because, segue to George Magazine. At that point, right before he dies, Hatchet Publishing, whatever, who put out their magazine, was like, they were out and he had to find new investors and he was kind of like scrambling. So it was kind of do or die. He had to lay off a bunch of people. So I wonder if that was sort of affecting him.
Well, now that you say that, that adds up. It like makes sense. Because I always viewed it as like, I just always viewed all of his things like that as like, he thinks he's indestructible. Mm-hmm. But he was like on one at that time. It seems
like he was, I think it was both because in, I believe the Hollywood Reporter, George oral history article that I sent you, someone talks about how he did think he was indestructible and he did not believe in the Kennedy curse. Mm-hmm. But it also sounds like he was kind of on one. Both and,
Yeah. Well, I guess, should we intro this magazine?
I guess we should. I mean, George Magazine, that's our issue.
Well, this is weird because we're talking about George Magazine, but through the oral history written by Vanity Fair.
Yes.
And also, we do have a really interesting Madonna article that they talk about in the oral history. From
the first issue.
From the first ever issue. Clearly the most iconic issue aside from... I looked into that conspiracy issue, by the way. And ironically, I had just finished, not fully reading because it's really long, but the Bill Gates interview. Oh my God.
Really? Tell me about it, stud.
Okay, so there's this issue of George Magazine. And the whole thing revolves around what the world will be like in 2020, according to doctors, lawyers, scientists, fashion people, tech people, like chefs. Like he interviewed all these people about what their industry will look like in the future. But then Bill has like an entire, like a 2 or 3 page spread about like technology. And it's basically him like in a nice way saying like technology. He's like describing Terminator. It's like, I didn't read the whole thing, and I think it would be interesting for us to cover it eventually, but I was like, oh, this makes sense that it was a conspiracy thing. There's one part of this where they talk to like disease specialists, and they talk about what diseases will be happening in 2020 and what viruses will be spreading. They were like, not all hope will be lost. It's like, you're probably expecting that by the year 2020, like, we'll all be like, you know, walking around with like gas masks on and whatever. Like, they're very like, I don't know. They don't talk about like a virus or anything, but it's still very like dystopian, the way that they describe like what it could be like in the year 2020.
Boy,
Yeah, I know. I was like, ew, this is creepy. This is like an X-Files moment. It's giving Black Mirror.
Oh, I don't like that one bit.
I'm gonna read just the opening headline of the oral history. It says, in early episodes of the new FX series Love Story, John F. Kennedy and Carolyn Bessette, JFK Jr. is seen shopping around his new magazine concept, George. During one power lunch at Michael's in Midtown, he produces a mocked-up cover image of a woman dressed as George Washington. In reality, that never quite happened. Yes, Kennedy and George co-founder Michael Berman hit the pavement pitching the idea for a political magazine to publishers, but the now iconic first cover of George, Cindy Crawford in a powdered wig, her midriff bared, shot by Herb Ritz, was so tightly guarded that even the entire George staff knew... Hello, I'm going to say that again. Damn, I was on one. Was so tightly guarded that not even the entire George staff knew what it would be. It was only revealed on launch day when Kennedy held a press conference at Federal Hall where George Washington took the oath of office in 1789 and pulled the covering off an oversized mounted version of the cover declaring, "Meet George."
Meet George. Oh, by the way, so this oral history is from Vogue and it's by Lila Ramsey.
Okay. Sorry, Lila.
Sorry, Lila. You're chic as hell. What a name. The George magazine of it all is so interesting to me. And one of the reasons being is just reading the different accounts from different people. It's so interesting to see the different takes on the same thing. Like certain stories. And how some people, I think, like have a rosy view or try and paint certain stories as rosier than they are. And then other people are like, no, it was actually this. Mm-hmm. Like this Madonna article that we have from the first issue. In one oral history I saw, they were talking about how it was originally supposed to be Roseanne, and basically she just like, didn't get around to it. And then in another oral history, someone talked about it, and she did write it, but it was nonsensical rantings. So they last minute had to get Madonna to do it, and she said that she would only do it if she was the first one, because they apparently did this article like every issue or something, or most issues.
And Madonna's article reads, it could come out today.
It's so funny.
It is so wild. It's like timeless in a way that feels kind of sad. Like we have not progressed really at all, because the whole time she's like, it also just proves that like Madonna was doing what all the girls are now expected to do. Mm-hmm. They're expected to do it because Madonna did it instinctively, like her support of the gay community, her like fighting for the rights of women and equality and all that stuff was just like not chic. Like pop stars were not talking about AIDS, and Madonna was putting condoms in her albums. Like it was just she was so taboo. Yeah. And it's crazy to read her article and like now it just sounds like what everybody says is like jargon. Like, I believe in supporting the blah blah blah. And like back then it was like wild to hear a person say that. Yeah,
she says in her little article that basically she doesn't want to be president. She says, "We live in an increasingly fearful society. Too many people have guns, too many people are afraid, too many people are struggling, and too many people need a scapegoat, someone to blame, a whipping boy. And this, my friend, is what we seem to need presidents for." So, but then she goes on and she says, but if I were president, she has 4 platforms she would run on. 1, school teachers would be paid more than movie stars or basketball players. 2, Rush Limbaugh, Bob Dole, and Jesse Helms would be sentenced to a hard labor work camp for the rest of their lives. 3, Howard Stern would get kicked out of the country and Roman Polanski would be allowed back in. And 4, the entire armed forces would come out of the closet. And she says, that's just off the top of my head, but don't get me started.
I love too when she says, she's like, I don't want to be president because like, she's like, I'd rather be an artist because an artist can be fat and whatever. An artist can do whatever they want. They can look however they want. They can be whatever they want. Like an artist can like get their political message out and like be who they want. Whereas like being the president is like so confining and like restricting.
Whereas, I mean, I guess artists can do that, but still not easy.
Not
women, baby. But yeah, it's now I would love to hear more about her stance on Roman Polanski.
I would give anything. I'm obsessed with the way celebrities, like across the board, just will not give up on him. Like
I know.
All of them. None of them will. No, is there a celebrity who will speak out against Roman Polanski? I don't think I've heard it.
I don't think so. It's so interesting. It's like, you know, Rosemary's Baby, it's a great film, but
right.
We don't have to die on that hill, you know?
One thing I wanted to talk to you about was like, as I was reading about just how it seemed like George was like being run by monkeys with typewriters. It was just pandemonium. It was like Gremlins 2 when they're like panning through the office and it's just pandemonium, mayhem, things are going, sparks are flying. Like that's the vibe. And they kept calling it a startup. But to me, it almost felt like George was like an expensive zine.
You know what also is interesting that you say that is in our Oprah episode, we talked about how Holly Madison called us out for, we had said that Playboy was like a fanzine for Hef written by him. And we're like, and Oprah feels like a bit of the same thing. This is also a bit of the same thing. And they wanted him to be more of like an Oprah figurehead where he's on the cover all the time and everything. But he said he didn't want that. But I don't know.
Yeah, he's very like, we're interviewing so-and-so, but I don't want to be in the room because it'll all be about me. Like he had this awareness that like time stops when he walks into a room. So he's like, I know you're interviewing like whoever, Bill Clinton, but I won't be there. Like he'll like hide in an office like away from where they're doing the interview. Or like one of the interviews, he lets them use his office and he leaves and the person never gets to see him. And it's like, well, if I'm there, the interview will become inevitably about me. I love it.
I love it so much.
So this whole article is like people that, like Dara said, people that worked in the office and like their account of like what it was like or whatever. And I love this Sasha Eisenberg. She said it was a startup. And so there was no clearly defined hierarchy or responsibilities. Everything was totally in flux. People were still figuring out what they did. The guy who was running the magazine had not only never run a magazine, but also never worked in a newsroom or in journalism. I mean, the only reason that a 15-year-old could end up there and be given so much responsibility was that there was a lot of stuff that had to be done. So they had like children in there like doing like fucking labor work.
You believe that? Where is Sasha now? Like to be working at George magazine at 15. Like
it's really crazy.
Oh, Sasha boy. Sasha is a boy.
Okay. I love boys named Sasha. That's my best thing.
I didn't know that about you. One of many. He has he's a journalist and an author of many books. Good for him.
Yeah, I hope that he also wrote his version of My Time with JFK Jr. Our time together.
Our time together. Everybody's got a story, baby.
There's also, I love this quote from Rosemarie Terenzino. She said, I would get a box full of mail twice a day that was just mail for him. So I would sort through the mail, making sure sketchy mail didn't get through. And the phone lit up like switchboards. It was insane. It rang nonstop. John told me that when he was at the DA's office, he shared an office with a bunch of other people and no one was calling. But at George, you would have Tom Green on the phone from MTV, a celebrity publicist calling about being on the cover, Mr. Armani's office to see if he could come to Milan for XYZ. Cindy Crawford came up to the office. Julia Roberts came up to the office. Every issue was like a new adventure. You never took a day off and you never got to call in sick because you didn't want to miss anything. That is really fun. That's cool.
Yeah. I'm sure it was like a real, I don't know, like everybody working towards this common goal and it's just like on the fly, by your bootstraps. Like I'm sure it was a very romantic time for everyone.
Yeah, this made me think a lot about, I'm reading an Anna Wintour book right now called Anna. And it's just like about her life. And it's very, 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 very interesting. But it's like the complete opposite of how a Condé Nast magazine was being run at this time. Like
I can
the
only
literal
imagine.
night and day. Like at Vogue, before Anna got there, the woman in charge would just kind of leave everybody to like do their job and like wouldn't really check it. And then when Anna came, every single morsel of that magazine went through her. Like, there is no single item or word or article of clothing or advertisement or period or dotted fucking I that Anna didn't approve. So it's like the total opposite where JFK is just like, do whatever, Julia Roberts tomorrow.
Right before the launch, or it wasn't before the launch, but it was right before an issue was supposed to come out, and a new managing editor comes in, and she gets to the office, and there's only 2 people there, and she's like, "What the fuck is going on here? Isn't there an issue that needs to go out?" And everybody went to the Democratic National Convention except for 2 people who were too afraid to fly. And I guess JFK had flew like pretty much the whole staff out there. So it was just like these 3 people putting out an issue by themselves. And
we would have thrived.
The whole office is gone. Can you imagine?
This is the exact kind of work environment that you and I would fucking thrive, where it's just like, do whatever, like, be artistic, be boundary pushing. But like, it seems like he just kind of left everybody to like do what they were good at.
Yeah, people were talking about that he wanted to assemble, people that he trusted, people that knew what they were doing, and then just kind of like letting them go off queen. But we would also thrive there because I think we would, like, ADHD hyperfixation, we would be there 80 hours a week, just like, we've got more to do. We've got more to do.
Oh my God. I would literally, the minute I heard his foot enter the threshold of that building, I'd be on my knees, scrubbing his shoes, fixing his socks, tugging at his pant leg, fixing his jacket, making sure his cufflinks are straight, like slicking his hair back, spraying it. Like, I would literally be the office hag. Everybody would hate me because I would be there all day, every single day. I'd be like that woman that terrorized Carolyn in the show at Calvin Klein.
Literally, yes. That would literally be you.
Threatening everybody.
I'd be like, oh, me and John, we have a different relationship. I make fun of him and he loves it.
You're like, right, you little bitch? He doesn't respond. I don't ever see you again.
He loves it when Carolyn does it. Not when you do it, bitch.
Yeah, right. He likes to be called fag, right?
Right.
I had said to you yesterday that this magazine reminds me of, it's his art pop, because he was like trying to merge 2 things that like already existed together, but just had not been like plugged into each other. And there's a whole section of this article where they kind of talk about like what he was trying to create and like how he really was on the cusp of something like very innovative and cool. And the magazine did last for a long time, but people just like weren't ready for it. David Jackal says you could tell that he was trying to shake things up, make the magazine about politics and make politics be a little bit hipper, a little bit more accessible to a younger demographic. He basically was trying to make politics cool. And then Sasha says, the question about politics and pop culture. I'm not sure everybody at the magazine could entirely agree on what that meant. And certainly the public didn't have a clear understanding because nothing like that had ever existed before. So I think there were questions. It's a political magazine. Is there going to be a politician on the cover? Is there going to be a political cartoon on the cover? Is John going to be on the cover? What the hell is a political pop culture magazine going to even look like? And like, that's so interesting when you think about like how everybody was just kind of doing their own thing and like figuring it out themselves. But this thing had never existed. So it's like, it just is like kind of a mess, you know?
Yeah. And I also read somewhere that they had said to JFK Jr. when he was first thinking of this and trying to put feelers out of a political magazine, and they were like, religion and politics do not work in magazines. Like, nobody buys them. They don't make money. So I'm sure that impacted him trying to shop it around. Yeah, like, because it was ahead of its time, but also there was never one that came after that was successful.
No. I was thinking about that. I was like, well, it's interesting. I couldn't think of anybody that like stole his concept and like did it well, or like, you know, did it in like the way that it should have been done in the first place or anything like that. It never really happened.
Yeah. I don't know. To a degree, I do kind of think maybe there would be no world where it would really work out that way, because he also said he wanted it to be like, when people like, for sports, it's Sports Illustrated. And that kind of like, oh, when you think of politics, it's like George Magazine. But I don't know how much people like to read about politics. Like, the people who really care about the pop culture were not the same people that would be reading dense articles about, like, I don't know.
Yeah. See, I don't know. Like, I wish that I was like old enough to have experienced the magazine, like for my age demographic, like, you know, to be like walking past it and like open it because Cindy Crawford is on the cover, which is basically what he wanted, right? He wanted us to see Cindy Crawford and Denzel Washington and these people on the cover that are like cool and hip, but then open it and like learn something about the current political state or whatever, whether we like it or not. And I just like, I don't know. I can't say yes or no. Like, I think it's interesting. This is like kind of self-serving, but I think it's interesting that it was like trying to give celebrities the opportunity to like voice political opinions.
Yeah.
That's interesting, just in like a circus freak kind of way.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I feel as though you look at like Vanity Fair. That's a magazine that does have political articles, but there's usually one in issue. But then it's also packaged with pop culture, just straight pop culture. It's so clearly highbrow. Or Playboy. Playboy, every issue had political articles, but it was also couched in something else. I feel like, I don't know, that was maybe the best you could sort of do with a magazine.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I wonder what this, well, now it wouldn't happen because magazines are dying or whatever, allegedly. But I do wonder like what the more modern version of this would look like now. Because if anything, I feel like maybe they just took this concept and like made it TV.
That's what I think. I mean, you know, you have Colbert, the Colbert Report and a Daily Show. It's like, yeah, I think that's easier for people to digest. Someone essentially reading it at them, and it's funny, and you can kind of, it's easier to hold someone's attention. But like asking people to kind of, no matter how much you couch it in pop culture and try to make it sexy, like there's still a lot of dense information. I think it would always be niche, and it maybe just could never make the amount of money it would need to make to keep going.
Especially competing with all the Condé Nast magazines. Like, it was like all of those and then this.
Yeah. At a publisher that was just not really respected.
Yeah.
So
Walmart Business is in the business of helping your business. Regardless of whether you're building bridges, building spreadsheets, or building lesson plans. Ooh, that looks fun. Walmart Business can help save you time, money, and hassle so you can focus on what you're building instead of what your supply closet is missing. In short, we take care of business so you can do more with yours. We're the Walmart you love, now for your business. Learn more at business.walmart.com.
Zootopia 2 has come home to Disney+.
Let's go!
Get ready for a new case.
We're the greatest partners of all time!
New friends.
Gary the Snake. And your last name? The Snake.
Dream Team. Get new habitats.
Zootopia has a secret reptile population.
You can watch the record-breaking phenomenon at home. Zootopia 2, now available on Disney Plus, rated PG. And right now you can get Disney Plus and Hulu for just $4.99 a month for 3 months with a special limited time offer. Ends March 24th. After 3 months, plan auto renews at $12.99 a month. Terms apply.
It was a nice thought, babe.
We kind of talked about how Matt Berman was like actually the person running this magazine, and how later on Carolyn ended up like wedging Matt out of JFK's life because she didn't like him. And I just thought that this account was like, this to me was like everything. This whole section of Matt Berman talking about them coming up with the cover. So he says, John says, hey, no big deal, but I'm going to have dinner with Herb Ritz because I think he might be able to help us on the cover. We thought he couldn't because he was doing Vanity Fair and Vogue. So it was just John, Carolyn, me, and Herb at this restaurant. I mean, I have to gay clutch my pearls because, oh my God.
Can you imagine?
John, Herb, oh my God.
Can you imagine just going to lunch that day and you look over and you're like, oh my fucking.
And they're looking at pictures of Cindy Crawford on the table. Like, I would just be like, you would just hear dripples coming from my chair. I'd just be pissing myself and like not talking.
I cannot imagine.
So it's John, Carolyn, Herb Ritz. They're at this restaurant, a neighborhood restaurant with a lot of vegetarian stuff. And we started to talk about the cover. Like, okay, what the cover could be, who it should be. John was thinking, should it be Bill Clinton? Should it be a political person? I'm a big research guy, and I grew up with an antique dealer mom, and I brought a little folder full of rough ideas. I don't know what the antique thing has. I was always interested in illustrations. I loved Alberto Vargas, who did the Vargas Girls for Esquire. Those pinups were often very Americana. So I had this printout of a Revolutionary War style pinup girl in a white wig wearing colonial clothes. I was like, something like this could be fun. And everyone really liked it. And we didn't know who the person was. And Carolyn says, well, if we're going to do a woman, she should be super American, like apple pie, an all American girl. And at that time, that was Cindy Crawford. Herb then got up, he called her, and it must have been a payphone right away. And so it was all agreed upon right then and there at dinner. And you have Herb Ritz who can just call Cindy Crawford and be like, hey, can you do me this favor and do John F. Kennedy Jr.'s magazine because Carolyn Bessette thinks that you would be great. What?
And another thing I read with her, she said, yeah, I mean, when it was Herb, like I would just do anything he said. So it was like kind of flattering, but it was really just for him. But now she's like, oh, I guess it's cool I was a part of that. It is pretty iconic. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's cool that they, in spite of the Condé Nast stuff and Herb, like, not being able really to, like the fact that they got Herb Ritz, like, because they were talking about how they likely, Matt Berman was like, I actually didn't care that we couldn't get any of the Condé Nast photographers because I wanted to do our own thing. Yeah. And like he wanted to work with like up and coming photographers or unknown photographers in New York. So the fact that they got Herb Ritz when he was like contracted to be shooting supermodels for Vogue was like crazy. I don't remember what article it was, but do you remember reading about how they wanted to put a bulge in Cindy's pants?
Yes, that was in this one. That was in this.
They wanted to give Cindy like a dick, and Herb was like, I love it. Please give her a big cock. And they were all like, no, it's too weird.
And I mean, my God, man, it just evokes another Sex and the City episode,
It's true. It is true. Oh my God. Ara sent me this clip from the Drew Barrymore show today where she talks about being on the cover. And I was like, it's funny because I was trying to find hers so we could talk about it, like a PDF of it, but it's so hard to find it. But she's on the cover as Marilyn Monroe, and That's like so iconic. Like to be on JFK Jr.'s short-lived magazine where he chooses you to be Marilyn Monroe, and just like the weight of that.
I can't imagine. Yeah, the covers I feel like have the most enduring legacy of everything because they are so kooky. I think we mentioned this in the main feed episode, but because the first cover did so well, JFK Jr. was like, let's keep doing George Washington. And so I think the next cover was Robert De Niro dressed up as George Washington. And they're like, oh, let's have him with a sword. And JFK Jr. sends one of the staffers to his loft and he's like, I have a really cool vintage sword that we should use. Can you go get it? He's like, yeah, what is it? George Washington's actual sword? And he's like, yeah, it was in the White House. And the kid's like, what? I have to transport this? What if I leave it in the cab? And he's like, you won't. Just bring it. It's like, my God.
That is so fucking funny. I mean, honestly, the covers are wackadoodle. To quote Lisa Rinna, it's wackadoodle time. They are literally like, you have Demi Moore in like a powdered wig. Like,
apparently she hated her cover and she called to say like, I don't like this picture, don't use it. And they never even told JFK Jr. They were just like, well, he really loves it. He'll be heartbroken if you say you don't like it. And she's like, oh, okay, sorry, never mind.
Anything for him. Bye.
Bye.
They do eventually abandon the...
I think they do 4. I think they do 4 George Washingtons.
I'm going to send you this link.
Oh, yeah. Okay. September 1997, Kate Moss. And she is dressed up as Eve, so she's just nude. That was originally supposed to be Pam Anderson. They fly all the way out to Los Angeles to shoot her. They have the animals, they have a white snake, everything's ready. They get there, and there's a note from Pam Anderson that's just like, I actually can't do it today, sorry. And they're all freaking out and they're like, what do we do? What do we do? And Mario Sorrenti, who shot it, he's like, well, I can get Kate Moss. And they called Kate Moss and tried to get her out to LA. And she's like, I'm not going to do LA sloppy seconds. If you want me, I'll do it in New York. So then they're like, it was so hard to find a white snake in New York City. And then she does the cover. And then this is the one where in the letter from the editor, JFK he's naked in it with an apple over his head.
Yeah.
And in the oral history, they talk about it and it's like, oh, he didn't really tell us anything, but it wasn't a big deal. But in the other things I read, I talked about it in the main feed. It was like, everyone was kind of like weirded out and didn't understand what the fuck was going on. And his letter was like totally weird and didn't make a ton of sense.
Just like he was being impulsively creative.
Yeah.
Like it was like a person trying to figure out what their art is on like a major scale, on like a huge platform where everybody's watching. Like, I don't know. I kind of think it's cool. Like, I think it's cool that he was always throwing spaghetti at the wall and like not feeling the need to like explain it to everybody. Like he would just like do shit and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. But that's like, I think what makes this magazine so cool in its short time. You know, it's like weird. The whole thing is so weird.
It is so ADHD creative person with money and access. It's just like, I want to do this now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go get my George Washington sword really quick. I'll be right back.
It's no big deal. I just got to run home. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay, whatever. I love the June 2000 issue shot by David LaChapelle. It's Giselle.
Oh, I love that one.
That's like a really good one.
I do like the December 96 Woody Harrelson one. It's I don't know, it's like haunting.
Oof. During that time, when I was like really young, Woody Harrelson was like one of my first.
Oh, I can absolutely see that for you.
White Men Can't Jump Woody Harrelson. Keep it away from me. It's smut. It's smut for me. I'm not kidding. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, that's a great cover.
There's also the Julia Roberts. What is she? Susan B. Anthony or something?
Yeah, she's Susan B. Anthony. It's so like it's
But
a
like
bad
on
photo.
on the coin.
It's a really, in my opinion, like not great photo.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite.
I don't like it at all. Oh wait, no. She's supposed to be George Washington. Is she supposed to be Susan B. Anthony? No, she's Susan B. Anthony.
Okay, I was gonna say it feels very specific. I just think that the whole dress up as a political figure thing like was weird. Somebody should have said, no, we don't have to like do that
We
a
don't
lot.
have like that's too far. That's a little too yeah, like Barbara Streisand.
Barbara's is back kooky bananas. I'm sorry.
It really Barbara Streisand, she's what Betsy Ross.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of those ones are like, you guys, this is a little too costume. It's not exactly like fashion. The Drew one is so good though.
I'm gonna say it's probably. I mean, in my opinion, it's the best. I think that's the best. Like of all these covers I'm looking at, Drew's is absolutely incredible.
Oh my God, there's a Jenny McCarthy one.
I'm looking at it as we speak. Oh my God.
This to me is almost prophetic of like, look at what this woman does to America.
I know. It's so 90s Jenny too. It's so like her being like, aren't I wacky? Her tongue's always out.
But her tongue's out. She has a crazed look in her eye, and her tongue is painted in the American flag in a way that's just like, ha, I'm going to take you all hostage, and measles will come back with a vengeance.
She's like, I know the cure for autism. Doo-dah, doo-dah.
Doo-dah. Oops, I farted.
Toilet. I don't even care.
Oh, the Charlize Theron cover is hot, though. She looks great in it with her little tricorder hat.
These are awesome. If I could find, these would be a really cool thing to collect, honestly.
Oh, definitely. I think they are expensivo, though.
Yeah. I've seen some ones that are like absolutely outrageously priced.
Oh, I love the Salma Hayek one. Her dressed up as a little cowgirl.
Amazing. It's so good. I also love, who is this? Is that Magic Johnson? He's like, I think it's Magic Johnson. He's like wearing all of his basketball clothes, but then he also has like a powdered wig on. I love it. They're so fun.
They really are. It's almost as if you wish that that JFK Jr. just kind of made a coffee table book.
Or just like did an interview magazine. Like just do the thing. To me, it felt like he felt pressure to make it political because it's like, why would I be doing this if there's no political spin? When in reality, he was just a pop culture girly. Like he was a celebrity and he should have just done what Andy Warhol did and did his version of Interview Magazine.
That would have been really cool.
Because he has amazing ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's almost too touchy, I think, in the long run for him to have done a political magazine because they talked about how Matt Berman wanted him to do an interview with, who was it? The guy who did the JFK, the director who did the JFK assassination movie. He made the conspiracy. Well, Oliver Stone. Duh.
Hello, Oliver Stone.
So Matt Berman is like, what if you interviewed Oliver Stone? And he like really didn't want to, but he convinced him to do it. Like this is what people want to see. And it is true. Like that is something that people would buy a magazine for. Mm-hmm. He flies out to LA. They sit down with Oliver Stone for dinner. And within a few minutes, Oliver Stone's like, so what do you think about the second shooter theory? And apparently JFK just like jumps up has to leave the restaurant for a moment to collect himself. He comes back, and then they just sort of like finish up dinner as quickly as possible, and then it never happens.
Eek.
So
gall.
it is, yeah. So it is a little bit like that would be a great interview for the magazine, but like, yeah, you're still a human being. That's a little too personal. I'm sure there's a lot of things like that where it's like, maybe this is too close to home. Maybe you should just be
Right.
be your own little Andy Warhol.
I just sent you one that I might frame.
Oh, I love this. Barbara Walters on the cover.
And she's surrounded. First of all, the headline is, "What makes Barbara Walters cry?" And she's posing like a diva in front of a bunch of television screens where she is making like Courtney Love and Michael Jackson and Liz Taylor, like all these people cry. It is so iconic. It's like, what's her name from 101 Dalmatians? Cruella DeVille. It's like if Cruella DeVille was on George. It's so evil.
You're so right. It is. Oh God, it's so good. There must be some sort of coffee table book with all of these covers somewhere.
There has to be. If anybody knows, let us know.
Well, Troy, do you have anything else to say about George Magazine?
Not really. No, I guess just like it's fun to have this be important again. It's like a really fun thing to have have a resurgence, you know?
I agree. You know, at least JFK Jr. gets to have one last. Hopefully, he's looking down and going, my baby.
Yeah, he's canoeing in the Hudson right now in his spirit, or whatever.
He's canoeing in that Hudson in the sky.
Well, we love you very much. Thank you for listening. Check out our Patreon. We are doing full episodes there that are actually quite riveting if we don't say so ourselves.
Oh, so slay, so rivet. It's Rosie the Riveter over there, okay?
It's major slayage there. But we love you, and we'll see you here next week.
Bye.
Bye.